Um, yeah, she's a nutrition specialist, and she's working with the APL Go. And today we have her here. She will explain, like more detail, like more deeply inside for, like for our product, like 18 products. And she will explain for everybody to have the knowledge, have the understanding, how the benefits of the product to the human body. And before that, like I would like to everybody, if in the room, please turn on your video and mute yourself. Okay, and all the questions we will have like by the end of the Zoom, like we will have like session for Q&A, like question and answering. So if you have a question for now, so please write down or like put into, like the text box, and she will answer it after the Zoom. No interfering during like her presentation. Yeah. So if everybody agree with that, so just
Yes.
so we have the Zoom start now. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for being here. My name is Mary Esther Gilbert. I've been a nutritional physiologist for over 45 years. I had a practice in Northern California for 30 years, and when I retired I decided to go ahead and teach and write books, develop courses so that I could teach more people far and wide how to restore their health nutritionally, because that's the only way you can restore your health. Nothing else will restore your health like the right nourishment down at the cellular level inside the body. So the slideshow that I'm about to show you, it's a brief overview of all of the products. I'll go over each product somewhat briefly. I'll go into a little more detail, a little bit more than I had to do in Texas. They only gave me 1 hour to talk about all 18 products. So I will go over each product, and then afterwards, feel free to ask questions. I love the Q&A sessions. That's when I am triggered, to teach more. So that's always a pleasure for me to do for you tonight. So thank you, Michael, for inviting me here. And I'll go ahead and share my my presentation now, unless anyone else, is that okay with you, Michael and Mr. Pham?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I'll go ahead and do that. If I could get this presentation in front of us. Okay. All right, here we go. I'll do the slideshow. All right, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
All right then. All right, so again, I have 3 degrees, a Master of Science degree in Holistic Nutrition, a Bachelor's of Science degree, and also I have a Bachelor of Science degree in Nutrition Science Physiology. And I have been examining the scientific peer-reviewed studies from all over the world for 45 years now. And so that's why I've been able to gather a lot of data as what the scientific community has been I'm sorry, I have to let someone else in here. Okay. So yeah, the scientific community is where they gather all of the research that's ever been done on any botanical and other subjects as well. But in this area, then all of the scientists all over the world that have ever done any research on any botanical, of course, they upload it to the scientific databases all over the world. But the panels of experts that put together the best and most credible scientific studies are called the peer-reviewed studies. And that's what I base all of my work on, whether it's for an individual client or for compiling, books for the public. And this is just a repeat of what I just said here. So for those of you who are somewhat new to the company, we have 18 botanicals, 18 formulations in over 60 botanicals in these formulations. And if I could ask those who are speaking in the background to mute yourselves, because I'm hearing an echo, I'd greatly appreciate that. Okay, so there's over 1,000 different plant phytochemical compounds, and these are the plant compounds, the fluids that are in plants. that are known to be highly beneficial for all bodily processes throughout the whole body system. And they actually facilitate the proper functioning of every single cellular process in all of our multiple trillions of cells that compose the entire body. And so there's the drops are very unique than other supplements because they are rapidly absorbed right through the mouth into the cell membranes inside the mouth, and they go into the bloodstream, and that's where the body's the genetic code of instructions in the DNA directs everything that goes on in the body. And when it recognizes the correct molecules, then it will direct those molecules to the right areas, and it can detect where there is malfunctioning in the body. So this is what's so unique about the APL drops. They are immediately recognized by all of our body systems, our monitoring systems, and so they're taken to the areas that need the repair, right down to the DNA level. And that's why so many of the associates out there are calling the drops the DNA candy. And of course, the company has all of the most impressive, sought after certifications like the ISO, the kosher, the halal, and a lot of countries have the distinction of organically grown. That has yet to be done in the US, and I'm not sure about Canada, but just know that the drops have already undergone all of those types of scrutinies so that we can be sure that these are indeed organic products. No genetically modified organism, no synthetic ingredients, and the plant materials are grown in the most nourished soils, nutrient-rich soils, and they're harvested at the optimal times of the year so that they are the most potent in their nutrient compounds. And if those of you who aren't familiar with the SA strength accumulation microtechnology, that's very unique, where the plant materials undergo a simulated storm environment where more electrons are bombarded, and at the atomic level, the plant materials pick up more electrons, which is very, very important for our health. Our bodies need electrons, and so these are negatively charged particles. So that's what makes the drops so unique, because other supplements out there, the tablets and the powders, they're not viable. They're not active compounds. They don't have the active electronic, donations that happen at the cell level. So our bodies are constantly undergoing a lot of free radicals, things that don't belong in the body are stealing the electrons from our living cells. And so when these drops come along, they come along and donate those missing electrons to restore the functioning of our cells. So, that's a whole very short physics lesson for you. So yeah, this is very important to know, because this is what really makes the difference between the drops and any other supplement. So a little lesson in our nutritional physiology is very important so that you understand and how to, you understand it for your own health, but you also understand it so you can answer more questions out there for people that you are recruiting into the business or as your customers. So just this demonstrates the 10 different body systems: the digestive system, the skin, the respiratory, lungs, the kidneys, the urinary system, and the the skeletal bones structures, the muscles, and the nervous system. This is the brain and the nervous system. And these are the blood vessels, and that includes the heart. So the blood circulating throughout the body. And this is called the other circulatory system in the body, called the lymph system. We have the lymph nodes that will produce a lot of the immune cells to protect the body. They're also produced in the bones, the bone matrix. And all of our glands also produce a lot of the immune cells to protect the body. So all of these systems, when something goes wrong in some of these systems, it means that there is a nutrient deficiency. So we have to work to protect the genetic code of instructions in our DNA, and that means nourishing the body correctly so that the DNA gets maintained properly. If the DNA starts breaking down because of nutrient deficiencies, then that's when health issues start to happen. So I like to show people what happens at the microcell level. Our bodies have multiple trillions of cells that are active and always, just working to keep the body alive. And all of that requires the right nutrients. So we have to have the biologically compatible molecules. We want 100% nutrient utilization and absorption. As you can see down here on the right, there's a typical human cell. And over on the left, there's a typical plant cell. Now, inside every single cell, we have the DNA, the genetic code of instructions that run the entire body, and we have to protect how that works. And that means, of course, nutrients to maintain the sequences of instructions in the genetic code. And we have the protein manufacturing sites, the energy production sites, and the sites that break things down and repackage and repurpose nutrients and other molecules. So things are happening all the time in the human body. And so that's why it's so important to use the plant materials, because they have the exact same type of little organs or organelles inside of the cells. The outside of our human cells are this membrane structure that's flexible and soft, and it allows the nutrients to come through. But whereas the plants, they have the fibrous outer coating to protect their plant tissues. But as you can see, this is a complete blow up, many thousands of times enlargement of, see, this is the cell here, but this little area right here where the arrow is pointing up, this is the cell membrane. And the cell membrane is the one that determines what gets allowed inside of our cells. So we need to be sure we're taking in compatible molecules. The body breaks down nutrients in the digestive process, and it ends up being what's left are the tiny microscopic nutrients. So that's why we have to pay attention to what gets absorbed inside of our cells and what gets repelled and not allowed inside of our cells. So anything foreign in the body will not be allowed through this membrane. Okay, but if it's compatible, then it will be allowed through, and that's where keeping us alive and well happens. So I have examined so many botanicals over the years, and the plant fluids are actually where the healing value and the cleansing value and the health recovery value from plants is. So the plant fluids are called phytochemicals. All the nutrients in the plant fluids, they're called phytochemicals or phytonutrients. And they're just, chemical compounds that go to work and help the immune system and help everything that happens in the body to function better. And there's so many ways I'm going to show you how these phytochemicals do that in our drops. So we want to avoid all these molecules that have been altered by heat, by synthetic, just distorting the molecules by not taking in the molecules in foods that are the healthiest for you. So the whole foods and all the whole food plant materials that are in the drops. So the way they break those down, though, at the molecular level is wonderful, because it breaks open the cell membrane of the plants and allows all of these instructions to be put into the drops. So our DNA reads plant DNA very easily and actually borrows a lot of the genetic sequences in the DNA to splice in and fix or repair any kind of malfunction in our own DNA. So when things get corrected at the DNA level, that means your body is undergoing the right health restoring process. Also, hydration, drinking water, the right type of water. You don't want to drink polluted water. A lot of tap waters are polluted, so I suggest drinking the purified spring bottled waters, and that companies, of course, vary from country to country. So I'm going to admit Tiffany here. Hello, Tiffany, welcome. Okay, so we need the oxygenation. Of course, we can't live for more than 3 or 4 minutes without breathing in oxygen, and we can't live for more than 3 or 4 days without drinking water. The body starts dehydrating, and then nothing can circulate, and so the body loses the oxygen and starts just shriveling up and and just dying, you know, so we can't live without those two very important, what I call nutrients as well. And we also need sunlight. Our cells are like plant cells. If we are not exposed to sunlight, then we can't absorb the sun's energy. And there's so many different frequencies that our bodies need from the sun in order to function optimally. So that's part of our whole health picture, and maintaining our health is to not only be nourished and hydrated and oxygenated, but to also make sure we're absorbing the light energy frequencies inside the sun. That way our cells are physically active. Welcome, Tina from Vancouver. So the energy production inside the cell, the unit of energy our bodies make is called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. And so that is the unit of energy our bodies use to produce energy. And so all of these phytonutrients that I'm about to introduce to you are used for producing this energy molecule. Okay. I also want to help people realize that the electron microscopy, it goes beyond the old-fashioned microscopes. Microscopes can only look at pinpoints of light, and the electron microscopy can look at tissues much more magnified. So electron microscopy is 10 million times the magnification of our cells, and that's 5,000 times more than a regular light microscope that we used, that us older people used in college, you know. So here's a picture of the tongue. And when you get down to that, you know, 10 million times magnification, this is what the tongue looks like. We're absorbing nutrients through the tongue, and also the intestines. This is 30 feet of intestines just below the stomach. Once the stomach empties, we get into the intestinal digestive process. And this is a cutaway of the arteries where the red blood cells are flowing through the arteries. And we have the brain neurons. We have a huge network of neuron connections from the brain through the brain stem up and down the spinal cord, and also branching out to the farthest reaches of the body. And here's a picture of our eyes. So we have the rods and the cones and the nervous system connections. So all of this requires the right nutrients at this microscopic level or submicroscopic level. And here's a cutaway of the skin, the 3 layers of the skin and the blood capillaries, you know, the hair follicles. And here are the lung capillaries. We also have a network of capillaries that bring oxygen from the air that we breathe in and distributes the oxygen throughout the farthest reaches of our body, right down to the tiniest capillaries in our fingers. We also have the bone matrix, and that requires nutrients to maintain that structure. So this is an actual photograph, but this is a depiction of what it actually looks like. And inside the bone matrix, we have immune cells that are always being produced and distributed throughout the body. And over here we have the red and white blood cells. So this is what the blood should look like. White blood cells right along there doing the monitoring and the police work to eliminate anyone, you know, anything that's circulating in the blood. And if anything that's in the bloodstream, bacteria, viruses, whatever gets in there, the white blood cells are the ones that destroy them. So the white blood cells have their own DNA, and by being well nourished, we have more intelligent white blood cells that can tell the difference between what should be in the body and what should not, and their ability to destroy what doesn't belong there. So that's why nutrients are so very important for all of this. And here's some red blood cells. Now here's one of the immune cells. The immune cells go along. Can someone please mute themselves? It's hard to talk over.
Mary, actually, Mary can actually mute, because you are a host. You can actually mute everyone.
Yes, I need to get back to that
because
page.
I can't really hear sometimes.
Okay, so I'm still admitting people in. One moment. Okay, that's person's joining. Yeah, I'm trying to admit him, but it looks like he's joining. Okay, so Mute all. Okay, I'm about to mute you all. Okay. Yeah, I can't see what's going on when I minimize everyone and I'm looking at my own slideshow here. So, okay, we've got 2 people entered the waiting room. Great. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so now the killer T cells will destroy cancer cells or any other cells that's forming that shouldn't belong in the body. So the immune cells are a lot smaller than the cancer cells, you can see. But if your body's highly nourished, then your immune cells are going to be that much more intelligent and immediately recognize the abnormally forming cell and go in and break it open and destroy it. You know, some of the killer cells actually consume it. They digest them, you know. So they're quite impressive in the body, but we have to be well nourished for that to happen properly. Here are the nerve bundles, the neural pathways. We have a super highway of communications via the nerves in our bodies. And here's another picture of nerve bundles. We've got, you know, very, very minute muscle fibers that have to be oxygenated and nourished as well, so that they can be flexible and a person won't be prone to injuries. Here are some eyelashes, and here's a hair shaft, which looks quite rough, doesn't it? But at that level, we're actually looking at all of the different layers of our hair. And down here, we have an actual cutaway of a real cell in the body. So here is the mitochondria and the endoplasmic reticulum, the protein manufacturing sites, the immune sites. All of these are working together to maintain our health and functioning. And I just labeled these. Here's another cutaway of the microelectroscopy. And here's another computerized depiction of what goes on inside of our cells. And all of this right here in this nucleus is where the double helix resides. And these variations in our genetic codes are here. And this is where a lot of the problems happen. When a lot of this, the DNA gets damaged, that means the genetic code sequences are confused. All right, so I just wanted to give you a quick overview of our nutritional physiology so that you know what we need to nourish at the micro scale. A lot of times when people eat the wrong foods, a lot of the nutrients are just not the right compatible, and they don't end up getting inside of the cells, inside of these areas here. Okay, so just a couple more slides just to in our little physiology lesson here. So oxygenation, we've got to deliver oxygen. We have to be hydrated. We need the sunlight. And also we need to eat foods and in this case, our APL supplements, which is the only supplement that are very physically active in the enzyme biocatalysts. So enzymes are, if you cook a food, then the enzymes are destroyed. Without enzymes, nothing happens in life, nothing happens in the body. Enzymes are the biocatalysts that spark all of the trillions of biochemical reactions and therefore our bodily process in the body. And so we have to, like I said, we have to nourish to maintain and repair our DNA's genetic code of instructions. And so the phytonutrients or the phytochemical compounds in these drops in raw foods, raw plants, are the ones that will do a lot of the healing and regenerative and detoxification work that the body needs to do on a daily basis. And of course, we always have the vitamin food complexes that are always present in the plants and the whole food mineral complexes as well. So all of this will optimize our immune system functionings. They'll maintain our hormonal and glandular system. You know, all of these missing nutrient factors, if there's something missing, then a lot of these processes will come to a halt. And your body has to dip into its own resources, its own tissues and blood and other nutrients that are circulating in order to perform a more important or life, saving kind of priority in the body. So we don't want any chronic missing nutrient factors. So otherwise, the body systems will start breaking down, and that's where people come into with all of their health issues. Okay, so when I was back in the 70s, I discovered this German scientist, Fritz Albert Popp, and he discovered that all of our cells did indeed store light in our cells. So he was able to photograph living things, and he was able to determine, you know, just how vibrantly alive an organism is. So one who is ill, their cells will be this light will be diminished. It won't vibrate at the higher frequencies. And also when you cook a food, most of this is diminished. You know, like this apple will be completely darkened. There will be no light radiating from it. And so we have to make sure we're eating raw foods, you know, in the plant kingdom as much as possible. We all love to cook. We all love our soups and stews. But once we do that, then the life force is diminished. And even though they're still pretty nutritious, they're missing that one component that we need to be vibrantly healthy. So Albert Einstein, you know, the famous scientist, who said, atoms are in a constant state of motion, as are sound and thoughts. Even our thoughts emit there's certain vibrational frequencies. And I have found that when a person is healthy, their life changes. They become more vibrantly alive. They make better life choices. Their relationships improve, and they're very luminous. You know, they have so much more energy. They're happier. That happens when a person goes from being ill to being vibrantly healthy and happy. Also, Nikola Tesla, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So they pretty much say the same thing, don't they? Everything is about how much our bodies are vibrating this light energy or electromagnetic radiation. So how I tie this into the drops is the Biology Online Dictionary says it is emitted when an electron moves from one energy state to another. So our drops contain extra electrons. That technology that APL has allows more negatively charged particles to become part of the atomic orbitals in the plants. So when we take in those drops, or we take in a raw food, enzyme active, light energy, frequency food, then those electrons get donated to our healthy cells to protect them. Because when there's something that doesn't belong in the body, a toxin, a synthetic, a pesticide, or something that's very toxic to the body, then those free radicals will look for electrons. And so they steal the electrons from our living cells. And that's what causes a lot of health issues. Over time, that light energy force gets diminished. So, okay, is everyone ready for the formulations? This is where it really gets interesting. We have 18 formulations so far, and they really address all of these plant compounds in these drops. They really address whole body nourishment, 100% absorbability, you know, and just help our trillions of cells in the body function properly. So this is the order in which they are listed on the APL Go website. So I just listed them in the same order. And of course, they break them down into the daily group, the premium group, and the elite group. So the Grow, it's all about healthy cells. And this formulation has all of the phytochemical compounds in the plants that are known to improve the immune system. So they actually repair the DNA and optimize all of the immune cells so that they can go around and destroy anything that doesn't belong in the body and help boost the hormonal system that works together with the immune system and the nervous system. All three systems communicate all the time to protect your health. Also, so you can see here how I've just listed some of the main classifications of these thousands of compounds that are in these plants. They assist the macrophages, which is a type of T cell, the saponins, the triterpenes, polysaccharides, and the flavonoid compounds. Those all are known to help the immune system. And they vary, the different types of these classifications vary in this list of the ingredients. So the detoxification contain the proanthocyanidins, and so they actually bind to toxic chemicals and help the body eliminate them safely. So Grow is all about protecting our cells. They have cardiovascular functions in the compounds called flavonoids to build healthy, strong, flexible blood vessels so they're not prone to breakage. And we also have the energy production, the adenosine, which is part of the adenosine triphosphate, the energy molecule ATP. They also contain antioxidants. They also neutralize those free radicals or toxins that I was talking about. And when your body is always on top of neutralizing free radicals, then the body is not going to age quickly. It's going to age slowly, and that's how we should be. In our optimal health, no one should age rapidly. Anti-inflammatory, all these plant compounds reduce the body's reaction to stress, whether it's psychological, emotional stress, or some stressor that is toxic in the body. Also, stress relieving properties. When everything else is working properly, then a person won't react to stress as highly as if they are not nourished properly. So someone who's ill, they're going to feel the stress in life much stronger than someone who is very, highly optimally healthy. And also, a lot of these compounds help the glandular system, the hormones that they all produce, to make sure that those are in balance. So, a lot of times when we're in stress, we have stress hormones that act to cause this whole cascade effect of inflammatory reactions, and also, emotional stress and that kind of thing. So it affects everything. So these alkaloids, the tannins, the glycosides, and all these natural plant steroids that are in these fluids in these plants are the body recognizes, and it can make the 10,000 hormones we need to exist every single day. So our hormones are the ones that monitor the system as much as the immune system does, and communicates to the nervous system to tell us what's going wrong. If you're feeling pain, then there's some issue that these systems have detected, just to let you know something is wrong. Also, it clears the blood vessels in many ways through the anthocyanin compounds that are in these botanicals. The GTS gets the power. The compounds that are in these plants are known to help our energy production, that ATP molecule I was telling you about. So the eleutherocydes, especially the ones from the ginsengs, are the ones that are very good for the strength and energy production and endurance, muscular endurance, stress, able to handle stress, that kind of endurance. Also, metabolism, regulating organic acids. So there's a lot of different organic acids that the body produces that are so useful for the multiple trillions of processes in the body. So the organic acids are always present there to regulate the body's pH and assist the immune system. They do all sorts of things in all of these body systems. The fat and the cholesterol and the glucose or sugar metabolism. We have the glycosides and the essential fatty acids and the resins from like the roots, like ashwagandha root and the magnolia vine fruit. All these different compounds also contain the resins that are so very important for this kind of metabolism. Then we have the tissue repairing, anti-mutagenic, antioxidants, the catechins, and the plant pigments, the ones that color the different brightly colored fruits and vegetables and berries. Those right under the skin is what determines the color of the food. So these are very, very high in tissue repairing compounds, and they prevent the cells from forming tumors and cancers and things like that. And they deliver oxygen. The heart and the arteries, the lungs, the nerve cells, all of those are addressed from the sesquiterpenes that are present in these plants. And notice I have S right here because the sesquiterpenes, like these other classifications, are just, there's so many sub-classifications in these plants. So they also have stress reduction effects, which is the cytoindosides and the acetylsterol glucosides right here. The cognition, the focus, alertness enhances the acetylcholine function, which is one of the neurotransmitters of the nervous system. So that communication is extremely important, and that includes the flavonoids and all these different phenolic acids. So when you combine all of these different types of compounds in the GTS, then you're going to boost your body's energy production. Now, the norm, this is known to regulate our blood sugar, among other things. So this combination of plants would contain all of these different compounds as well, and they're known to balance the blood sugar. So whenever you take in carbohydrates, your starches, your body's going to handle them much better, and the pancreas will be able to handle the sugar that's in your bloodstream much more effectively. Take it out of the bloodstream when it becomes too dense or to saturate it and then distribute it throughout the body to help energize every single one of our cells. So that's the insulin function, is to take the excess blood sugar out of the bloodstream and distribute it where it's needed. So that's where all of these compounds here come in handy. Then we have the insulin production. So your pancreas secretes insulin that takes the blood sugar out of the cells. And if that mechanism is not working right, then we all call that diabetes. So that's very important to be able to take in the types of plant compounds that help the body produce the right amount of insulin and also aid in taking a lot of that blood sugar out and distributing where it's needed. So these plants are very, very helpful in so many ways. It's the DNA of the plants talking to the DNA of our bodies, of our cells, and that's where the communication really ultimately takes place. And also in the norm are the anti-hyperlipidemic. So it means that it prevents too much, if your body has too much fats in the bloodstream, then it helps break those down and takes them out of the blood so that you can metabolize the fats correctly rather than storing them, under the skin or around the organs or in the arteries. That's where they become very dangerous. So it also helps with cholesterol metabolism. Every single cell in our body is built with cholesterol. So the body makes cholesterol on its own, but it's when it's in too high of an imbalance and when you're taking in fats that are distorted, when you fry foods or any kind of heated oil, that becomes a dangerous fat and that will clog the arteries. That's the main culprit, not really cholesterol. That's cholesterol has a bad rap because it's been blamed for a lot of the heart disease when people are, have passed away and the arteries are analyzed, a lot of the plaques are from the plasticized fats, the heated fried foods from those types of fats. So we don't want to fry our foods. We don't want to take in, those kinds of fats. So anyway, all of these different compounds, they help with the cholesterol and fat metabolism. Then we have the protective aspects also that are present in these plants, and you'll start to recognize these same types of phytonutrients that are present in many, many plants. But then, like I said, there's different variations and subclassifications, but there's only room to list the major compounds here on these slides. If you're familiar with my book, I go into great detail as to what all of these, all of these plant compounds do. Energy efficiency, anti-fatigue. So again, we have the ginseng root with the eleutherocytes and the lignans and the coumarins and the phenylpropanoids. So you'll start recognizing these now that you've seen them, or many of you are probably already familiar with them if you have taken many supplements before, different kinds of supplements. A lot of times the supplement industry will isolate certain compounds like this, and because science has told them what they're good for in the body, then they market that, that supplement. But as you can see, it's an incomplete supplement, because who wants to get a supplement that only has flavonoids or the terpenes or quercetin or all these others that you might find familiar? We want the whole plant. We want all of its balancing effects and its complete nourishment effects. So the Power Apricot, it contains a lot of plant compounds that are known to balance the hormones, and this is what people always are looking for. So the carotenoids is a huge classification of plant compounds, have been known to help the body, all of the glandular, all the hormones that the body produces in all the glands in the system to just stay in balance so that the person feels emotionally and mentally balanced at all times. So also we have decreased stress sensitivity. So the cytoindocides and the acetylsterol glucosides, those are very important for helping the body decrease its physical reaction to stress. The nervous system doesn't go crazy, and the hormone system doesn't produce stress hormones. So everything stays on an even keel, and that means the person's mental, emotional health stays on an even balance as well. So then we have protective antioxidants that neutralize those free radicals. It helps the body detoxify. A lot of times these synthetic toxins and pollutants get stuck in the fatty tissues of the body, and that includes the lymph nodes and also the glands, and of course under the skin, and also at the cellular level, the nerve cells. So, and that destroys the nervous system, and that leads to a lot of different types of neuro diseases. When a person's mental capacities start diminishing, their memory starts to fade. And so there's a lot of other health problems that ensue when we don't have the right types of protective mechanisms or plant fluids in our bodies. So then we have the mitochondria, energy production, protective functions too, and that would be the melanoidins, the saponins, and the unulin. So again, there's many more compounds that are underneath all of these main classifications. Oops, sorry. Okay, so then I'm still on apricot, aren't I? All right, and then nutrient utilization. Again, we have all of those organic acids that aid in utilizing all of our nutrients. And then there are the terpenoids and flavonoids that help maintain mental alertness and focus, learning behavior, cognitive behavior, things like that. So they act on the nervous system. And also these compounds, they call the asparagines, they are very beneficial for strong bones and flexible tendons and, just good hair growth. And then we have the aphrodisiac properties that help the libido, balancing the hormones. Again, that's so important. So this is the apricot. Now we have the power lemon, similar, but only it's geared more toward the types of fatty acids and plant sterols that the male body recognizes as precursors to forming their sets of hormones and their balance of hormones. So aiding in the hormone optimization and the equilibrium are all of these different compounds here. And also producing energy right down to the mitochondria in our cells. These types of compounds are very beneficial for that. And then because it acts on the nervous system, we have mental alertness and focus and cognition. So that goes hand in hand with the right nerve function. And that includes the polyphenolics, saponins, and ginsenosides. Again, the ginsenosides are present in the ginsengs. Also, these compounds are known to improve physical strength and strength endurance. So if you exercise, you don't have to be a man to benefit from these because your female hormones will determine how to use these compounds properly. And even a man can use the power apricot in order to balance, assume a semblance of balance in their hormonal system as well. And if a person is exercising, the body will be able to utilize these compounds that much more fully because they'll be able to maintain the musculature and the bones and the nervous system and the hormonal system. So physical strength, the choline and all these different organic acids, all these different plant sterols, and even the amino acids. So when you have a complete protein, that means it has all of the essential amino acids our bodies cannot produce. So plants have different types of amino acids in them. So it's hard to get all of them all in one place. That's why I advocate animal-derived proteins, because they contain all 9 of those amino acids. And if any amino acids is missing in the body's processes, then it'll come to a halt. If your body's trying to make a new hormone or maintain your nerve cells or grow hair, anything that's happening in the body, if there's an amino acid missing, it may come to a halt and it will go on to do other work in more pressing areas. So it's important to be fully nourished. That's what I advocate. So anyhow, nevertheless, they have a lot of the amino acids in these compounds. And the polysaccharides are also very, very good for energy production and maintaining physical strength. And we have positive stress responses, the cytoindocides, and there's those acetylsterol glucosides. This massive classification just addresses many different body systems. Then we have the immune system that's addressed also through all these different types of compounds, and also the cardiovascular system. So our heart and our blood vessels must be flexible to maintain so that there's no damage in the blood vessels. And when a blood vessel gets damaged, it gets clogged. And before the immune system can repair it, sometimes those clots break loose, and they're called embolisms, and they will block the circulatory system, and it could be a dangerous thing. It could lead to a stroke or a heart attack. So we want to maintain our clear, strong, flexible blood vessels through these types of compounds, also in the heart as well. And then, of course, the immune system, where our bodies do not have to respond to any inflammation because there's nothing there that would cause the inflammation. So when someone is in an inflammatory state, we need to nourish the body so that the all the different cell responses will cease to do that, because when a person is healthy and there are no damages in the body, then you won't have an inflammatory reaction. And then we have the relax. These compounds are very well known for improving the moods, and therefore they act on the glandular, hormonal system. They calm the nervous system down so that you don't have stress reactions, so that you can think more logically and clearly, and just think about what's happening, and rather than automatic stress reaction, just getting upset very quickly and too soon without being able to think about something in order to talk yourself out of the stress reaction, right? So we have to maintain that kind of stress. So it takes a lot of physical strength at the microcell level to do that. And so we want to maintain balance with the immune system, stress reactions, and the overreactions from the nervous system. It also helps the brain, cognition, all these alkaloids and their steroidal lactones. They're not steroids, they are precursors to any type of hormone the body wants to make, and they're just called steroidal. Then we have the nerve protective effects of all these compounds, the calming, nourishing of the nerves, again, so they don't overreact. And so that brings about happier moods. When your hormones and your nervous system is functioning calmly, of course, you're not going to be sedated. It's not going to knock you out and put you to sleep. It's just going to calm you down so you can think better. And therefore, your emotions are more balanced, and your perceptions and your reactions to stress are all under control. Then we have this SLD. I call that the super slide, because it really acts on the inflammation of the joints and helps build new tissues that can prevent any kind of inflammation. So if you're inflamed, then you're going to be in pain. But if you correct that problem at the cell level, then it won't be an inflammatory reaction and you won't be in pain. So, when you put these together, we've got pain, inflammation, you improve the ease of movements in the joints and the muscles and tendons, then everything is going to be repaired, so you won't have any joint or pain issues any longer. And so it requires a lot of nourishment, including the choline and all these different fatty acids. The silica is very important, and the different types of fatty acids that are present in these plants. And of course, a lot of these different compounds that are present in these plants, they also help the body repair so that you don't react to inflammation, so there's no inflammation. Antioxidant to neutralize any free radical or any stress reaction that the body's undergoing in its breakdown. We need oxygen, that's our friend, we can't live without it, but when it's in a biochemical reaction that's breaking something down, like in nature, we have, say, a fruit that starts becoming brown, and eventually gets rotten. That's the enzyme action, that's the oxidation action at the micro level, where it's reducing a food back down to its elemental components, the vitamins and minerals, eventually just minerals, and it goes back to the earth. So that's the oxidative reactions. But when we have that in the body, we don't want that kind of decomposition. So this is where these compounds are donating the electrons and oxygenation and maintaining the right type of biochemical reactions in the body. And then the tissue repair, again, those essential amino acids, it contains quite a number of the essential amino acids there. The plant sterols and the omega-3s, those are all important for maintaining and repairing and building new tissues. The immune system, all of these different types of compounds are known to help the immune system do its job. And then we have the chlorophyll and carotenoids that will cleanse the blood, meaning detox any synthetic chemicals, bind to those chemicals, eliminate them out of the body so that you have more ease of movement. A lot of these problems are because the body is so inundated with toxins. And so that creates a stiffening of the muscles and a slowing down of the circulation. And all that happens when the blood isn't completely cleansed. So this cleansing action should be on a daily basis by eating the right foods, by taking supplements such as these that are so effective for this. So, maintaining a clean blood system is very important for preventing a lot of the joint and muscle and tendon stiffness. Then we have the STP, and a lot of these compounds have natural, what the drug companies, they actually take the salicylic acid from these types of plants and just bottle that isolated compound and call it a pain reliever, but we want the whole plants, all the different supplemental and augmenting and balancing, compounds in it, so that we have the immune system that is working properly. Therefore, you have anti-inflammation, anti-stress responses, and that therefore these also help repair the tissues, and that equals no pain, like I mentioned earlier. And here are just some more of those different types of compounds that have been found to aid the immune system to do that job. Then we have the blood vessels, the heart, and the circulation. All these different flavonoids and the pectin that's in these different foods. The asparagines, the ellagic acid, another organic acid, and the wonderful anthocyanins. So you're going to have quite great protection of the blood vessels too, so that it stops any inflammatory reaction that leads to pain. Brain and the neuroprotective mechanisms in these plants, also antioxidants, preventing tissue damage and preventing those free radicals from destroying our healthy cells. Ease of movements is what this one is all about, as much as the slide. And this one has a little bit extra to help the body respond to pain. Then we have the ALT, the immune system, respiratory defense, antimicrobial kind of compounds in this formulation, anti-inflammatory. They protect the tissues. There's those flavonoids again for building strong blood vessels, just to distribute a lot of the immune defenses throughout the whole body, so that it can determine what belongs in the system and what doesn't, and prevent the reactions that cause a lot of these allergic responses. So if you're allergic to if you have these seasonal allergies, then this is the formulation that you want to turn to. The MLS is my favorite because it addresses every single body system, and I just had to list as much as I could on this slide. I know it looks very crowded, but look how many ingredients are in the MLS. So it addresses everything, the glucose metabolism, how your body handles fat, even the bile flow. So in your gallbladder, that's where your body digests fat. So a lot of the fats cannot be digested through chewing, which is the first step of breaking down foods. Their enzymes in the saliva help break down foods to get them ready for the stomach. And in the stomach, we digest proteins and carbohydrates, and whatever fat is in the in the chyme, in the bolus, that becomes just this big ball of material that's in the stomach. While it's breaking those down before it enters the small intestine, it's sent, the fats are sent over to the gallbladder, and so the bile is very important for breaking down the fats in the gallbladder. Okay, so a lot of these fatty acids, and these carotenoids will help to make sure that is broken down properly. Then we have the digestion in the intestines. It goes into the intestines. It's a very high acidic environment that breaks down the meats, if it hasn't been broken down already by the hydrochloric acid in the stomach. As you see, it's a very long and sluggish process to digest foods, just to get the nutrients extracted from those foods. So yeah, that's a very slow process. Whereas the drops, they're already broken down. They're already ready to be absorbed into the bloodstream. They bypass the digestive system, and so they're immediately used at the cell membrane to enter all those nutrients get entered into the cell. Also, it addresses the circulatory, cardiovascular, and the respiratory system, the brain and the nerves, and also they're very powerful. Oops, I keep doing that. Very powerful microbials. So they destroy bacteria, illness-causing bacteria, and they destroy viruses. They destroy the fungi that can accumulate from too much yeast or too many carbohydrates in the diet and not enough plant compounds that counter that. And also the parasitics, the microscopic parasites that are present in the body too. So if you're constantly taking in compounds like this every day, then your body will easily handle those microbes so that you will not get ill from them. anti-inflammatory, anti-free radical. You know, these are just extremely beneficial for all the different systems, the urinary system, the endocrine, the glandular and protective, the hormonal system. So as you can see, this particular drop addresses every single body system, and because of all these compounds in it. The heart. So we have a healthy circulatory system, nothing obstructing it there. Heart as well, blood vessels in the heart, and the contractions are strong and pumping blood to and oxygen, you know, that's inhaled from the lungs throughout the body. Respiratory endurance. So if someone is exercising and their heart makes the adjustments for the increased work volume or workload, then it'll respond beautifully without you worrying about having a heart attack or anything like that. So when you maintain your heart, you can exercise stronger and you get more fit and more strong as time goes on. So that's a very progressive way to maintain your health and maintain your strength and your youth. Exercise makes your body younger at the cell level. So the heart, it has a lot of compounds that have been known to assist this process, and also the immune modulation, helping the immune system determine what should belong in the body and what shouldn't, and how to recognize that. Antioxidants and toxic chemical detox, all of this protects the DNA. All of this gets rid of all of the microbials that might get into the body. You know, so the HRT formulation, the few botanicals that are here, they contain a lot of different compounds that will help nervous system, learning, cognition, helping the brain, and antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-oxidative stress, anti-free radical, antimicrobial. So the heart not only protects the heart, but protects anything that might attack the heart. So the ice is great for digestion, cleansing the intestine out, normalizing that acid-alkaline balance. The carotenoids are very, very, very well known for that. Anti-inflammatory, soothing relief, repairing the stomach tissues, so that if you, you know, if you happen to have any damage to the intestines or in your stomach, then these plant sterols or these plant compounds will help repair those tissues quite readily, so that you don't have inflammation, so you don't have pain. Antimicrobial cleanses the blood toxin, any toxins, takes it out of the blood, helps your body eliminate them. Urinary tract detoxification as well, so you don't have to worry about kidney problems or urinary tract infections. Antioxidants, anti-free radical, all of these compounds have been known to address these issues. Gastric protections, protecting the stomach, and also, you know, immune modulatory. So it helps make the immune cells able to recognize what should be in the body and what shouldn't. So the immune system actually is always monitoring, always policing, and always attacking something and getting rid of it before it becomes a health issue. That's how your immune system should be maintained. So the ice not only soothes the stomach, but it does a lot of other things, as you can see. The heifer is also a very good detoxifier. It helps detoxify the liver, but also the kidneys, you know, helps cleanse the blood and cleanse the lymph nodes. When a lot of these synthetics get stuck in the nodes, you might have a swollen lymph node. You might want, if that happens, you might want to take a look at what you're eating and what synthetics you're exposed to. We absorb a lot of synthetic toxins from that are circulating in the blood, but also get deposited around our nerve cells to destroy the nerve cells, and also the lymph nodes. They store the synthetic toxins in there as well. And a lot of times they are found in hardened plaques in the deceased who have had, you know, health issues with their arteries and their heart. So we want to keep all of that kind of metabolism, you know, just cleansed in the body and making sure everything is flowing. So the liver needs, it's the great organ for storing toxins, rather than letting it get overrun throughout all those other body systems that I just mentioned. So also it improves the microbial intestinal environment. So a lot of times if someone has, you know, eats food, bad food, you know, foods that's been spoiled, and they can get food poisoning. A lot of those microbes will multiply very quickly and circulate throughout the bloodstream and make someone very sick, activate the immune forces, but sometimes these plant compounds aid the immune system. They'll actually go to work on their own to destroy these microbes that cause a lot of these problems. So you can get rid of food poisoning in a day if you attack it with all of these plant compounds that are known to destroy these microorganisms on their own, in assisting the immune system. So all of these compounds here are, just great antioxidants. They help bind to all these chemicals in the liver, and also and help your body get rid of them, neutralize all these free radicals at the molecular subatomic level, just donating all of these extra electrons that are in the drops and in raw foods to neutralize these free radicals. Also, there's great antioxidants that are known to directly improve the liver functioning, energy production, and circulation with the curcumin that's in the turmeric root. So all in all, it's a great cleanser. Now, one of the newer formulations is the air. And basically, all of these compounds in these plants help to just make sure there are no obstructions in any of the circulatory systems in the body. So they also help in the self-cleansing, self-regenerating of all of our cells. And so they're going to clear the respiratory airways with the proanthocyanidins. They're going to improve the immune cells at the DNA level, become antioxidants, donating those electrons, antimicrobial actions. A lot of these are secondary metabolites, meaning they act on their own in the body. And so the body just lets them go to work, and they destroy the microorganisms and just return the body to its homeostasis or biochemical balance. So these are great plant compounds that are in these this combination of plants here. Anti-inflammatory, a lot of these compounds will go to work and just not only stop the inflammation, but also do the repair work so that there is no inflammation. And the HPY, the happy, it has so many different compounds that act on the nervous system and the hormonal system, so that a person does not react to stress so readily, or reacts to stress in a much more calm and logical and just not panicky kind of place. Anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, immune boosting types of compounds. So when your body is not in an inflammatory state or not toxic, and your immune system is handling everything nicely, of course, you're going to be in a much better mood, right? So everything is in balance. And also, you have to have a lot of energy so that you can live your life and do fun things and enjoy your life. So it increases the mitochondria energy production in the cell, that little organelle that just focuses on energy production. And that means fueling all the cells so that your body can have the higher metabolism and just have the extra energy, out of your day to do more things that you enjoy instead of all work. So all work and no play is not a healthy thing, right? So then we have things that help the muscular stamina, because you're oxygenating and everything's circulating just fine and you're happier. So it also helps the blood flow in the brain, cerebral circulation, and therefore you've got more oxygen and nutrients in the brain. So then you're going to think better, you're going to react you're going to perceive things better, cognition, learning, memory, just your thoughts will be elevated, and you're just going to be, in a higher place. And therefore you're going to be making sure that you're also improving the nerve functions and all of the biochemical pathways in the nervous system. And then also the curcuminoids are known to improve women's health issues. The BRN, that's been around a little longer. It's also one of our elite formulations. And so this really focuses on the brain and the nervous system, nourishing those cells so that you have better signaling, better, nerve impulse transmissions from cell to cell, learning and memory, including the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF production, which is anti-senility. So that's what these compounds will help to do in the body. Antioxidants, anti-inflammatory. You don't want inflammation going on in the brain. Just clearing the way and calming things down so that you can think and learn. And therefore, if everything is balanced, including your hormones, then you'll have less stress. The stress in your life you'll be able to handle more logically and make better choices, better decision when you're in a much more calm, strong place. Just reducing the stress altogether and how you perceive it. And then, of course, improving the circulation through the brain, through all the blood vessels, and therefore distributing your immune system cells everywhere just to do their police work as well. So all in all, the brain is very good for handling how you view life, and how you perceive things and how you can learn and remember things like that. The BTY, men like to have beautiful skin too, right? So we all want to look vibrantly healthy. And so this is what these compounds in these plants combine to do. So you have to have a good immune system. You have to be able to detoxify all those synthetics that can affect how you look at the surface. If you cleanse from the inside, you're going to have you're going to appear much healthier, and you are going to be vibrantly healthy on the outside. You'll just radiate all of this attractiveness. Rapid cell regeneration and repair. That means your body will turn over all of your different cells more quickly and more effectively and more correctly. Sometimes when cells duplicate or replicate themselves, they're copying a sick cell. And so that's also part of the disease and health degenerating process. So we want to stay nourished to make sure that our cells will duplicate and replicate the mother cell, that's the healthy mother cell, and keep replicating healthy cells. So optimal functioning. Repair and boosting mitochondria. We want to always be in that rapid cell regeneration and repair process. Inflammation, free radicals, all those things will affect how a person feels and looks. Antimicrobial, so that you make sure you're not ill. People don't look very good when they're sick, do they? They turn pale and they're tired, and even their facial expressions, their whole body language is just so diminished. Fat and glucose and endocrine, hormone metabolism, and there's that bile flow again. Just the way your body handles fats is so important. Stabilizing those stress reactions and how you perceive the world, and circulation and balancing all of your body fluids and just detoxifying on a regular basis so that your microcirculation is delivering nutrients and you look so much better. So that's what the BTY is all about. Then we have the PFT. Everyone is excited about the PFT because, I have never advocated weight loss, any kind of programs, because they never work. They never work because people don't realize that the body is always going to want to store fat. That's just our body's way of storing energy for future use. So the way to keep the body fat down is just to take in a lot of enzyme active, nutrient-rich foods so that your appetite is under control at all times. You won't have any cravings, things like that make you stop and overeat. If you haven't eaten for a few hours, your brain is going to crave sugar. So in order to keep that from happening, you have to eat regular meals. And when you exercise, replenish nutritionally afterwards so you don't eat the wrong foods. All that is in balance. But when your body is storing a lot of fat, sometimes it stores the fat around the organs, and you don't always see that. And that can be a dangerous thing because it could be forming in the arteries, it could be forming in the heart, through the kidneys, all these different things. So maintaining your body's fat is very important. Your energy production, how your body burns fat and where it distributes those fatty acids once it breaks them down to fatty acids, which are very important. They're precursors for all of our hormones, our 10,000 hormones the body makes, which are the regulating hormones that help the body start and stop all their chemical processes. So then we have the carbohydrate metabolism to maintain the healthy environment in the colon so that you don't have illness, anaerobic, oxygen-hating type of microbes in there that are releasing toxins and creating a lot of problems in the colon, irritating the bowel, affecting how your bowel movements are. All of that is very, very important. So just maintaining your carbohydrate metabolism so that you don't store too much body fat, and maintaining the health of your colon environment with the aerobic or oxygen loving beneficial bacteria in there too. So that's what all these compounds do for that. And then of course, there's always the antioxidants, anti-inflammatory, detoxification type of plant compounds that keep your body cleansed. So, you are free to use these nutrients for energy production. And also, if you're going to have more energy for exercise, then it actually aids in the fat burning process. But what I have found in my research is that these compounds also are known to help the body use the what's called visceral fat, the fat that surrounds your organs. And that's where your body will store extra body fat. If you don't see it under the skin, it could be storing a lot of body fat around the organs inside the body. So these compounds are known to accessing the visceral fat and use that for energy production. Usually, in order to dip into your fat stores, you have to elevate your heart rate and exercise for a period of at least 15 to 30 minutes, several times a week, and longer would be better if you can, if you're that fit, if you can work up to that level of fitness. But burning body fat for energy requires a lot of sustained energy, muscular work. But a lot of these compounds have been shown to just access that visceral fat and break that down for energy, rather than doing aerobic exercise. Not that I don't want people to think they don't have to exercise at this point, because exercise has a lot of different benefits for your health. But anyhow, that's what's great about the PFT. It's a very effective way. So many people out there are losing their body fat. They are losing the inches and losing the body weight. And it's quite remarkable. I have never advocated any weight loss program, but I can't ignore the science either, so this is very important. Okay, and then if anyone asks about the different other ingredients, we use all non-synthetic kosher food-derived flavorings, natural food-derived flavorings, and they're not genetically modified. And we have organic sweeteners, non-synthetic molasses, all these natural plant carbohydrates that are present in the plant materials. And then we now use beet sugar. The ingredients used to state cane sugar, but now they switched to beet sugar for some time now. So that's that 1 gram of sugar in the drops that crystallize the drops and preserve their nutrients. That's the sucrose. And in the candy industry, they all know that that's the only way to have a hardened candy. Nothing else will harden the crystalline structure outside of the drops. So the body breaks that 1 gram of sugar down very, very easily. Even diabetics can break that 1 gram of sugar down. So it's sucrose. The white sugar is sucrose, but the body breaks it down to glucose, which is blood sugar, and fructose, which is present in all fruits. And you never have to worry about any diabetic eating, an abundance of fruits. It's the refined sugars that is the real problem. And then we have the food-derived colorants. So these are numbered according to the Food and Drug Administration, and they're probably similar in other labelings in other countries. So, don't worry, they're not synthetic. And in America, they don't make the distinction between food-derived colorants and synthetics. So they're all numbered accordingly. But it's the number itself that determines whether it's naturally food-derived or synthetic. So just know that I've done the research, and these are all naturally derived food colorants. Then we have the preservative, the acidifier, citric acid. That is a natural organic acid that every single cell in the body manufactures. So it needs that in the energy production cycle, the ATP molecule. And so people need not worry about the minute amount of citric acid in these drops. Some people who are allergic to things like strawberries or other citrus fruits, that's a lot of citric acid that their particular bodies can't handle at that time because of the state of the inflammatory reaction or inflammatory conditions, and just the way their health is at that time. So if a person has a reaction to something, it's probably not that minute amount of citric acid. That's just a natural preservative, and it'll help balance the body's acid alkaline balance, even if it's that small amount. So do not worry about the citric acid, okay? Okay, so this is the final slide. I have taken everything that I've talked about tonight, all those plant compounds. I go into even greater detail. I've compiled a database in my book Potent Superfoods for Lifelong True Health. And this is the reference. This is how you formally reference, anything that you use as a scientific reference. So this is, if anybody wants to, refer to this, then know it's from my book. And if you're interested in purchasing the book, then it's at holisticchoices.com/books by Mary Esther Gilbert. And that's pretty much it.